Hey guys, today on Cooking with Carby, we're creating one of my favorite appetizers from Boston Pizza, Cactus Cuts. Cactus Cuts, what are they? Well, they're kind of like a thick cut potato chip. So not so thin that it's just crunchy, thick enough that there's still a little bit of potatoey oomph in the middle of them. They're infused with a little bit of spice from jalapenos. We're gonna try to do jalapenos and habanero peppers, and dipped in something called cactus dip, which is a creamy dip used to cool off that spice level. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this, as far as preparation as well as the actual frying. The best way, deep frying, but then also a more accessible or maybe slightly healthier version in my air fryer. Okay, let's start.
I'm opting to use russet potatoes because they're the French fry king. They're super starchy and dense and have a low moisture content. Frying, after all, is essentially just getting the moisture out, so using a waxy yellow potato is kind of counterintuitive. And then I have a couple of jalapenos and habanero peppers. When slicing the potatoes, we're aiming for discs that are approximately 2 millimeters in thickness. You can definitely do this by hand, but it's hard to remain consistent and a little bit tedious. If you have a mandolin, you can give that a try, but mine's not adjustable and the thickness is just a little too thin. These are perfect for potato chips, not quite what we're going for here. I have this thing that I'm surprised was not called the Slap Chop 3000. It's actually called
the Pumpkin Slice.
Seems super gimmicky, but it's actually really great for chopping anything that you want a mandolin or julienne, and it has an adjustable thickness setting, so I've got it set to exactly 2 millimeters, sped up the process exponentially, totally worth 25 bucks. I'll put the link in my description. Transfer all the potatoes into a large bowl or bucket, and then slice up your jalapenos and habanero peppers if you are attempting to make the cactus cut spicy. A little bit of the heat from the peppers and their seeds is going to transfer into our potatoes themselves as they brine. The next step of the brine is adding in about 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt per potato. So for 4 potatoes, I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of salt. This seems like a lot, but it's not all going into the potatoes, and we're not going to need to salt our potatoes after frying. Then fill with enough cold water just to cover the potatoes. Mix everything around to dissolve the salt, and then let it sit for at least half an hour up to overnight. This process is going to remove any excess starch on the outside of the potatoes, resulting in potatoes that don't stick together and have a crispier exterior. While we wait, we can start on our dip, which is surprisingly simple. Half a cup of sour cream, 3/4 cup Caesar salad dressing, about 3 tablespoons of finely grated parmesan, and then 1 or 2 finely chopped green onions, about the same amount as the parmesan, so 3 tablespoons, and then a few twists of red pepper flakes on top. Mix everything together, and then you can top it with a little bit more green onion to make it look pretty, cover it with saran wrap, and throw it in the fridge until you're ready to serve. Now that my potatoes have been soaking for about half an hour, I'm taking a baking sheet, lining it with a dishcloth and then some paper towel, and putting out single layers of the potato slices and the peppers. What we're doing here is we're trying to, again, soak up any of that moisture. It seems kind of counterintuitive that we want to get rid of moisture, but then we soaked it in water, but that does help to draw out moisture from inside the potatoes. Frying method number 1 is in my air fryer. I'm putting a little bit of oil on the bottom, a little bit of oil in the basket, and then I'm putting only a single layer of potatoes and peppers in. If they're touching each other, they're not going to get crispy. This is going to take 20 to 30 minutes, and they will need to be flipped halfway through. After about 15 minutes, you can see that they probably are cooked all the way through, but they don't really have any color to them yet, and they're still a little bit floppy. So I'm going to flip them over, throw them back in for about 10 more minutes, and then they should be done. Now for the deep frying method, I have about 2 inches of oil coming up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit in a large Dutch oven. I'm spooning in a fairly large amount of the cactus cuts because they aren't going to stick to each other, but we don't want to put in so many that it drops the temperature below 325 degrees. After about 2 minutes, we can see that they're just starting to pick up a little bit of color. If I pull one of them out of the oil, we'll see that it's holding its shape. They're very nearly there. We're gonna let it go until about 2.5 or 3 minutes before removing into a container lined with a paper towel to suck up some of that oil. This is just the first of 2 fries because I'm doing everything as batches. Once I've removed this first batch, I can place my second batch in, rinse and repeat the process until I don't have any more. This last batch that I'm putting in right here, those are those ones that I cut on the mandolin at the beginning, so they're super thin. These ones only need a single fry, and it's gonna be closer to like 60 to 90 seconds at most. They're gonna be golden brown like this. Perfect, done, they don't need to go in again. For the second fry, I'm bringing my oil up to 375 degrees, and then I'm throwing the Cactus Cuts back in, and it's gonna be only for about 30 seconds. After about 30 seconds at this higher heat, they're gonna start to turn golden brown very quickly, so keep a close eye. As soon as they get this color, pull them out again into a container lined with paper towel to suck up any of the excess oil, and then they're ready to serve.
Okay, now that we have all three versions finished, we can give them a try. First up on this plate here are the ones that we deep fried that were the proper thickness. So you can see a little bit of thickness. Some are pretty crunchy. Some have a little bit of bend to them, which is exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, those are delicious. Exactly what we're looking for. A little bit of crunch on the outside, but not so much that it's just a potato chip. We still want a little bit of that potato-y thickness in the middle. Let's try one of the air fryer ones. I mean, they're really good too, but comparison, one versus the other, the deep fried is definitely better, but I mean, fried things usually do taste better. And then lastly, we have the potato chip ones. They're good in the dip. They're also just good by themselves, and they'll stay crispy if you leave them out in a bowl for the next while. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you try this out for yourselves at home. This is a great appetizer or like game day snack, or just a side dish. If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.